All right, welcome to Sports Guys, another on-campus review. This week we get to talk about all the championship games from this weekend, all the ramifications. The bracket finally came out from the selection committee. There was a lot of controversy we need to talk about. How you doing, Ravi?
Doing great. Doing great. Had a good weekend. Finished decorating for Christmas today.
Excellent.
Yeah, just had a real busy weekend.
Fantastic. What's your takeaway from the games you saw Saturday and also the bracket that came out and some of the controversy there?
Well, it was a very interesting weekend. A lot got decided. Um, I think that we learned how good Indiana is, that they're for real.
Mm-hmm.
We also learned that Georgia has really improved. Um,
Man,
and
do
then
they
there's
look
been a
good.
huge debate about the playoff rankings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the fact that you had two group of five teams get in rather than one, you know one's going to get in as the number 12 seed, but the fact that two got in and it left Notre Dame in the cold was a huge shock for everybody. When Virginia lost, our team lost in that game that they had control of their destiny on and couldn't find a way to get back, even though they did tie it and take it to overtime. They couldn't find a way to win the game. It did open up possibilities. And my thought right after the game was, okay, now Notre Dame and Miami are both going to get in. That's what I thought after it.
I did too.
And I thought to myself, because they're going to put at least one ACC school in. So one of the aspects of that prediction was true. They did put Miami in, but then instead of putting Notre Dame in, they slid JMU in because Tulane was already going to go. And that was incredibly surprising. And I think even the seedings, the way they did the seedings, putting Alabama all the way down at 9, was very interesting. So I don't know. We'll get into all those details, but any other impressions from the games themselves?
Not really. I know there's a lot of hype around Texas Tech right now, rightly so. But I caution people to go slow on that. They definitely have very few holes and they look really talented, but they're I don't know. Georgia definitely looks good. I think Alabama's kind of backed into the playoffs a little bit, and I'm not sure. I think that's why the committee really pushed them downward, because they haven't looked good
Mhm.
lately.
I would say they almost slipped out of the playoffs with that performance. I mean, they got
Yeah.
torn apart by Georgia. That was pretty
There's only
surprising.
one reason why they're in, and that is the committee didn't want to send the message that you can go to the championship game and lose your spot in the playoffs.
That's right. Although
So
they
I
did
think
that to
they said,
Virginia. So
well,
I
no,
don't know.
no, but they didn't. Virginia didn't have a spot in the playoffs if they lost,
hmm Right. Yeah.
whereas Alabama would qualify with a loss. It's just
I
they
mean,
kind of backed
Virginia
into
got
it.
knocked out because we knew they were going to get knocked out. They were not going to make it unless they won the game. And BYU, we also knew was not going to make it if they
Yeah,
didn't win the game. And I predicted, and you did too, that Texas Tech would win the game. I didn't think it would be in dominating fashion like that. That was really surprising. They
yeah,
tore BYU to pieces, really. And Texas Tech's a very, very good team, and they're very
yeah.
dangerous right now. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Georgia's very dangerous. Georgia's looking like they could win the whole thing. They have
I
that
kind of
team.
felt that coming on. I felt them slowly getting better all season long.
Mhm.
They
Yep.
definitely, yeah.
Their defense has really stepped up. Stockton's playing better. Their weapons are starting to make some noise. Incredibly impressive. Indiana, Ohio State, that was a true battle between two incredible defenses that really, really look like they're rounding into shape. Both those teams could definitely win it as well. So,
Yeah. Mm.
a lot of good football. Tulane had to win to get in. They did. JMU had to win to get in. They did. Um, so everybody who needed to take care of business did, except for BYU and Virginia. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate that the Cavaliers couldn't get it done. They had it in their hands. They have no one to blame but themselves. I thought that in that game, Duke came out like gangbusters, got a lead. They had a brilliant game plan against Virginia. Essentially, we're not going to let Taylor beat us. We're going to put everything into the hands of the passing game on a windy night, cold night in
I
Charlotte.
think we'll talk about the Virginia game when we get to the score, but I feel like a lot of mistakes were made and really poor tackling. So it wasn't so much game plan on Duke's side. I think it was really poor execution on Virginia's side.
Mm-hmm. And a pick that really killed them at the end, obviously. That pass made no sense. All right, well, let's take a moment just to recognize our sponsor for tonight. That's Jersey Mike's. They've been a longtime sponsor of ours. We love Jersey Mike's. Matter of fact, I went there today and got my number 13, which is the giant original Italian, and I saved half for tomorrow. What do you think of Jersey Mike's, Robbie?
Love Jersey Mike's. Family loves Jersey Mike's. It's such an easy call. They have incredible food. They have a good value, and they're always friendly. I am known by my friends for going there a couple times a week in a regular week, and it's a lot easier than cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So really happy they're a sponsor, and because it's something that we eat all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so fresh. The people are so nice. The ingredients are always, chosen that day, and they don't have anything frozen. It's just you can't get a better meal.
And honestly, I always talk about how I get the number 17. But the cool part about that is it's really consistent. It's always good. It's always well done. It's always tastes the same. It's really, really good. So that's something special.
I always got the 13 until you started introducing me to the 17, and now I go back and forth. Those are both so good, but all the sandwiches are great. I mean, people like the buffalo chicken, and there's a lot of great choices. So, guys, go to jerseymikes.com or go to their app or get Uber Eats or one of the delivery services to deliver you a sub tonight. And tell us what you think. Drop us a comment. What do you think of your Jersey Mike's experience? And have a good one.
It's a sub above.
Sub above. Let's go for it. Take a look at the scores for the weekend. All right, so this week, this is our episode 93. This is our on-campus review for December 7th, and this is what we're calling Playoff is Set, because it really is. As you see, the final bracket is out. You've got in the first game of the weekend in round one, you've got JMU taking on Oregon. Essentially, JMU slid into Virginia's spot because Virginia would have played Oregon. Alabama falls all the way to number 9 after their loss to Georgia. And they're going to play Oklahoma, a team that they've played this year, and they've played very close. Tulane was already set up to take that last group of 5 spot. They actually move up a spot with their win, and they're going to play the coachless Ole Miss Rebels. And then the team that barely slipped into the playoffs and kind of got essentially an ad hoc bid was Miami, and they're going to take on a very good team in Texas A&M. So any of those first weekend games you're most excited about?
A&M Miami and Alabama, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I think
agree.
Alabama runs them out because I think Oklahoma, their offense just isn't very good.
True. Although they've beaten Alabama, so they can do it. Their defense is that good.
Yeah,
I think that's
it
going to be
is.
a really good game. I think it's a field goal game. I really do. I think that's just going to be very competitive all the way down to the end. I agree with you. I think Alabama gets it done, but it's going to be very, very close. They're going to edge them. And then I think A&M's the better team against Miami. I mean, they were essentially the best SEC team all year except for right at the end. So will I be shocked if Miami wins that game? No, but I think A&M's the better team there. And then I think JMU and the Wave from Tulane are going to get blown out. I think you watch the
Yeah,
end of that score.
it's
Yeah.
hard to say, but they should get blown out. I don't know if they will, but they're
Mhm.
gonna lose.
Right.
Can they hang
Exactly right.
with Oregon for a half? Maybe.
Right. So winner of that game goes on to play a really hot Texas Tech team. We know that what they did to BYU was pretty impressive. You got Alabama and Oklahoma both lined up to play Indiana. What a great game that's going to be in second round.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you have Ole Miss, who's already played Georgia this year. That was one of their losses, was to Georgia, and that'd be a great game. I think either team could win.
It's gonna
And
be
then
tough for Ole Miss without their coach.
that's true. That's true, but I still think they've got the athletes to do it. They've got Chambliss. And the guy who's taking over the team next year has just been hired as their coach, was and still is on the staff. So they have the advantage of having him there. And then Ohio State's waiting on Miami A&M, so that'd be a really good round too. And then our first team out was Notre Dame, and our second team out was BYU. I think BYU was not a surprise. Notre Dame was. The reasoning from the committee was they didn't really have a quality win all year. They played two top 10 teams and lost both games. And then essentially just cruised from there. And so what do you think is the message, Robbie, from the committee this year? It's very confusing. Do you schedule tough games? Do you not? Do you do all patsies early? Is it important to get to the championship game, or is it better just to avoid the championship game and try to get into the playoff? I don't know. It's
I
a
think
very,
the
very
only reason
confusing.
Alabama is in is because they didn't want to send the message that championship games don't count.
Right.
It's the only reason Alabama's in.
They're the only three-loss team in the field. So
Yep.
you're probably right. It's probably exactly why they made it in. And Notre Dame did not, because they didn't have a quality win. So I think the message for me is you have to have a quality win. They want you to schedule tough teams. They don't want you to play all patsies.
Right.
They're not going to penalize you for being in the championship game because they want those to succeed. The message with the JMU and the Tulane both getting in, that I don't quite understand. I really don't.
I don't really either. They said that this year they were gonna try to get the 12 best teams in the country. But you can't make the case that because you won, you're a Power Five champion, you're one of the top 12 best teams. Like that doesn't work.
Right.
And they
That's right.
almost left out ACC entirely, and that's actually a Big Four conference.
That's right.
It,
Yeah,
it
I don't.
doesn't.
I just don't. If we want the best 12 teams, this doesn't seem to be the best 12 teams, in my opinion. I mean, BYU and Notre Dame are better than JMU and Tulane. They just are. So if you truly
Right.
want the best 12, let's have the best 12.
By a significant amount.
Right. So I don't know. I think everyone's a little confused coming out of this year into next year. How do you plan your schedule? How do you play your schedule and plan it? And how do you try to get to the playoff, which is the ultimate?
Well,
And
here's what I'd say. You have to take cracks at top 10 teams. You hope teams fall apart after the fact, that you catch them while they're overrated. Virginia kind of did that when they beat Florida State, who was number 6 at the time, and they clearly weren't a top 25 team.
mhm.
And that's the quality win that Virginia had. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even qualified for the playoff. Even if they had won, they wouldn't have gone.
Mhm.
So I think they shouldn't do preseason rankings. They
Mhm.
should let they shouldn't even come out with any rankings until maybe week 3
Mhm. I agree.
or 4, and then come out with your rankings and then start to fix who's in what slot. But
But
I
you
don't
know
know.
they're going to do preseason rankings because it's part of the hype of the season. You're trying to get a really strong start to the season.
I
So they're
know, but
going they shouldn't do it, but they're going to do it. So you're gonna have to live with that. And when you look at what the rankings ended up at the end of the year versus the beginning of the year, it's incredible how different it is. You
yeah,
had 14 of the top 25 preseason that were unranked at the end of the year. So
right.
pretty incredible. This is going to be a fun tournament, though. I mean, I'm a little
Oh yeah,
disappointed. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little disappointed in how this came out because I want it to make sense, but that doesn't take the shine off what's going to be a great tournament. And
look,
even
here's the
with
deal.
that,
When there was a two game tournament back a few years ago, everyone screamed that we needed more teams in, and that when you got to 4 teams in, it would fix all the problems. Then they got to 4 teams, and they said, that'll fix all the problems. And they keep adding teams, and now they're at 12, and they're talking about going to 16. I think you'll never fix the problems. You have to just accept what the criteria are and decide what you're going to go with and stay with it and not waver. I've heard some teams arguing, some analysts arguing that Alabama has the best win of all the teams that were on the bubble, but it was in the first couple weeks of the year,
Right.
and they were screaming about how Ohio State beating Texas didn't really count because it was week one.
Hmm.
Everyone just sort of keeps sliding the metric around to fit their narrative and their argument instead of having one simple set of metrics that always apply no matter what. So that's been the confusing part is that there's been a very much a moving goalpost, so to speak,
Hmm.
and everyone, trying to argue for this person because of strength of schedule, arguing Notre Dame should go over Miami because their losses weren't as bad. Like
Hmm.
it's a really strange set of arguments for each one of these teams.
I mean, you look at Notre Dame, and they did try to do what the committee's asking for. They scheduled two top 10 teams right up front. They scheduled Texas A&M and M, and they scheduled Miami. The problem is they lost both games.
Right.
And then if you look at the rest of their schedule, it really was a lot of patsies. It really was. They just
That's right.
rolled over everybody. And so they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and think to themselves. And we had a friend talk about this on his post today. He said essentially, look, Notre Dame has refused to join a conference because they like having their own TV deal. And because of that, they're never going to go to a conference championship game. They're never going to play the tough schedule that a lot of these other teams are. And because of that, the two top 10 teams they schedule every year, they got to find a way to win those games or else they're essentially going to be out. And this is a big learning experience for them. And I think Notre Dame's got to go back to the drawing board and about how they're going to schedule. And they need to schedule tougher games. So,
Yeah, I think that's right.
so I think that's a good message that comes out of this. It's going to be a great tournament. Obviously, very disappointed that Virginia, who had their destiny in their own hands in Charlotte against a team they had already beaten, couldn't find a way to get it done. Did take it to overtime, played really hard, but we'll get into the details of what they did there. And then BYU, I think, was an incredibly surprising result. I was not surprised they lost, but getting blown out by Texas Tech. So let's look at the games from Saturday, all the different championship games. The first one started with Tulane and North Texas, and North Texas being a really good team, and they came into this game, both teams 11-1. And Tulane found a way to get it done, 34-21. And we've talked about both of these teams having really great seasons, and Tulane finds a way to get it done and then finds their way into the playoff in the American Championship. So what's your take on this game?
Ratzlaff played a nice game. No mistakes of any significance. Uh, 13 to 22, 145 yards. Very decent game. They ran the ball well and they were effective in staying balanced, and their defense played pretty well. I mean, their Tulane's defense had 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, a pick six, and three picks total. So I would say that the defense was kind of the difference, really.
I agree with that. Yeah, defense was different, and Tulane just had a little more offense on this day.
A little more
Yeah, a
offense.
little more functional.
Rushing yards were 199 for Tulane and 121 for North Texas.
That's right.
Just little differences like that where you can point to it and say that there was some domination a little bit.
That's true. 100%. So the committee said that they actually gave Tulane some credit for playing North Texas in this championship game, and that it wasn't a passing. It was a really tough team, a team that came in
Yeah,
11-1. And so that may be
true.
one of the reasons they got in is because,
Well, North Texas was 24 in the country,
right, exactly.
so
So
that's a
this was
pretty
not a passing game. Yeah,
no.
committee gave them the credit for that. The other team they gave a lot of credit was James Madison, who came in 11-1 and go to 12-1 against Troy in the Sun Belt Championship game. So they take home the trophy, and then they get probably the surprise of their lives when a couple hours later, Virginia loses to Duke in overtime, and they get the call that they're going to the playoff. I
Yeah,
think
that
all
was
of them
crazy.
kind of given up on it. But what's your thought about James Madison 12-1 going to the playoff without Signetti? It's pretty amazing.
It is amazing that he built that program and they stayed up there after he left.
Yeah,
Um,
Rob,
You
they've
know,
only been in Division One 3 years. You realize
I
that,
know
right?
that's right. They've only been Division One a couple
Yeah.
years, and they they quickly became relevant.
It's incredible. They're going to the playoff and Virginia is not. It
Yeah.
just, I never thought that would happen this weekend.
Against
But
Troy, I mean, they ran the ball down their throat. Wayne
they
Knight
did.
went crazy.
They did. Yeah, he's fantastic.
He
He
has
really is.
212 yards rushing and a touchdown.
They have such a solid program now. Signetti found a way to leave that program in really great shape and also build up Indiana. That
You
shows
know
you
what
what
I
he's
think of when I hear that guy's name?
what
Newman. The
Newman.
actor's name is Wayne Knight.
Yeah. You're right. Congratulations to James Madison. Congratulations to Tulane. I scratched my head about why they both got in, but now that they have, I'm kind of rooting for them. They're the
Well, the
underdogs.
defense for JMU had a tremendous performance against Troy.
They did. They
Eight
really did.
8 sacks, 14 tackles for loss.
Hmm.
And that's amazing.
Fantastic.
That's
So,
quite something.
those games really got the weekend off to a great start with these championship games. Then we go on to
Mhm.
Indiana, Ohio State. Just total epic proportion in this game. You had the Big Ten championship on the line. You had the number one seed in the playoff on the line. This game was just almost all defense. There was a little bit of play from the offenses, but it really was very tough. Every yard was tough.
Yeah.
Indiana finds a way to get it done. Ohio State misses the tying field goal at the end. What's your take on this game?
They're both 12-0. Ohio State was favored by 4. Um, you said it. I mean, it was a defensive juggernaut matchup. And both quarterbacks played pretty well, honestly.
I think they did too. Yeah.
You know, Mendoza was 15 to 23, 222 yards, a pick and a touchdown, 90.2
Hmm.
QBR.
Hmm.
Sayan was 21 of 29, 258 yards, a touchdown and a pick also, and a QBR of 60.7.
Hmm.
It was a
Do you
really
agree?
even matchup. I mean, let's face it. It
Do you
came down
agree?
to a missed kick with 2 minutes left.
Do you agree with Tim Tebow, who said that whoever wins this game, the quarterback is going to win the Heisman? Do you agree with that?
No.
Okay, I don't
Well,
automatically agree with that either. I
it
think
might be
it's a good
Mendoza, but
case. Yeah, yeah.
it's not because of the way he played in that game.
Hmm. Well, what he was saying was it's not the only reason, but it was another notch on his
In
bedrock.
fact, I can't imagine Sayan winning it, to be honest.
Hmm.
I don't think they're going to give it to a freshman. And
It's just
I just,
interesting to hear a Heisman winner like Tim Tebow say that he thought
yeah,
whichever quarterback won this game was going to win the
I think
Heisman.
that's an oversimplification.
Yeah.
I think Mendoza could help himself in a game like that, and I don't think Sayan can do very much to uh to get it this year. But he's definitely
But
going to put himself in position.
you won't be surprised if Mendoza wins it. I know I won't.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think it's going to come down to Mendoza or maybe Pavia.
Pavia, Jeremiah Love. Um, there's a couple
Jeremiah
guys.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mendoza has the inside to the award at this point, being 13-0. We shall see. The next
Mhm.
game was stunning to me. I mean, I watched every play, and this is a team that Georgia that lost to Alabama just a couple weeks ago, and has been coming on the last 5 weeks and coming on, beating really good teams and getting better.
Mhm.
Their defense has been stifling the last 4 weeks. And they really made Ty Simpson look very pedestrian in this game. He really looked kind of confused at really big
He looked
spots.
lost. Yeah.
And Stockton outplayed him for the first time. Last time, Simpson outplayed him quite a bit. And Georgia really looks like a team that could win the whole thing to me.
There was one stat that's that there were a lot of stats that were important to look at here. But there was one stat that screams why one team won and one team lost badly, or it was lopsided. Um, -3 yards rushing for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
-3 yards rushing. It's
I've never
unacceptable.
seen that stat before with Alabama ever. You can't win the SEC championship game with
Mm-mm.
-3 yards rushing. That
Alabama
just,
usually has 2 or 3 100-yard rushers.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they really, their offense and their running game especially has been kind of broken all year, and
Well,
Georgia's hasn't been great either compared to what they're usually.
I know, but it's improving.
It's
It's
improving.
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 They have a balanced attack. They have a bunch of running backs who are getting 40 to 60 yards a game.
Mhm.
They, and Stockton had an awesome game, 20 of 26, 156 yards, which isn't great yardage, but he didn't need to. He had 3 touchdowns, no picks, and he had 39 yards rushing himself.
They were talking about Simpson for the Heisman 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he doesn't look anywhere close to that now when he
No.
plays a really good team. He's
Well, he
good.
looks lost when they're unable to run the ball. So,
Run the ball and the pressure. I mean, Georgia was just coming and coming and coming
yeah,
and
they
coming,
were.
pinning their ears back. So
Yeah.
all I can
They
say
got
is,
3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and a pick.
this game was incredibly impressive for Georgia. I think they've stamped themselves as a true contender this year. There's no
Yeah, I
question.
agree.
And
Could
I
you
think
imagine Georgia winning it all? Yes. I mean,
they
you
could
could.
do it. Yeah, it's not impossible.
They get a little bit hot and a little lucky. They could
Yeah,
beat Ohio State. They could beat Indiana.
sure. There's no doubt about it.
They had a
And I think,
nice balanced attack. They had a bunch of running backs carry the ball 13 times. And, they didn't have spectacular numbers, but
and
they spread the ball around nicely.
Stockton, if you look at him in game 13 versus game 1 and 2, it's not even
Yeah.
close. He's come along a lot.
Yep.
He's much better.
They're much better than when they played them in first couple weeks of the season.
Hmm. So next game we got Texas Tech demolishing BYU, and I saw a lot
Yeah.
of BYU fans whining after this game that even with a loss they shouldn't be left out. If Alabama gets in, they should get in. They shouldn't be penalized that they got to the championship game and lost. And I don't know. Part of me thinks that there's an argument there because why did Alabama get in and they didn't? But when I watched them get just destroyed by Texas Tech in this game, I thought to myself, this may be the honorable thing to do. I don't think BYU would have a chance going forward.
It was
They did have
interesting to
they
hear
did have a
their
great
coach.
season though. Yeah.
It was interesting to hear their coach, Kalani Sitake, said that Texas Tech
Yep.
is the best team in the country, according to him. And he said we had to play them twice. So losing to them twice, it's no dishonor there. And he said that we beat a bunch of other teams. So
I got to
uh,
tell you,
we,
man. Not only did
we,
Georgia stamp their way that they could make some noise in this tournament, Texas Tech can make some noise in this tournament. They have every capability
yeah,
to do so. And if
I,
I'm
I
one of the,
feel like I feel like their offense isn't quite good enough to beat the best teams, but their defense is.
Mhm.
Do you know what they were ranked last year on defense?
What?
122. After after that windfall of cash they threw at transfer portal, especially defensive players, but at everything. Guess what they were ranked this year?
What were they?
3.
Wow.
They went from 122 to 3 in one
Mm.
season
I
because of
do
all those
personally.
transfers they put up there.
Their defense is incredible, but I do personally
Yeah.
believe their offense is good enough to win a game or two in the playoff. I guess we're
Maybe,
going to
yeah,
find out.
but not to go in and beat Indiana or Ohio State or something like that. It's possible, but they're gonna have to play well. They're not gonna just be able to go vanilla and win that one. I think that's gonna be their limitation is they're going to struggle to score unless that defense that defense has a motto. It's get 3, and that's get 3 turnovers a game. And they usually do. They have incredible defensive line and incredible linebackers. Their linebackers are called the Mustache Crew,
Hmm.
and they all have mustaches, and they are incredibly talented players.
It's true.
But but they probably have the best defensive line in football,
Hmm.
and the whole thing was assembled through NIL. So uh, they
It's true.
they bought this team basically. We
Rob,
haven't really seen anything like this, where a team
BYU
was
is a
put together like a team of free agency.
Rob, BYU is a really good team. Okay, they had
Yeah,
a fantastic season, and they
yeah.
played this team twice, and they got demolished. So that tells
Yeah.
me
And it,
Texas Tech
it got
is
worse and worse.
Texas Tech is a true contender this year. They really are, and I
I
wouldn't
agree.
want to play them. I'm telling you.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Anything else about the game and the stats that you saw that
Um,
stood out? Big
Not
12
too much.
championship.
I'll tell you, Texas Tech, they're one of the original Big 12 members, and they're not they haven't had that level of success. But I think they've really built something special. I mean, they have stars at all levels. Every part of their team has stars on it. They Their defense was swarming, 8 tackles for loss, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. Ben Roberts himself had 2 interceptions, and they put so much pressure on Bear Bachmeier that I felt like it it wasn't the wheels were coming off before like it really even showed. Like it just
Mhm.
felt like they were taking control before anything had really happened.
That's true. How do you
But
think Texas feels right now sitting at home when A&M and Tech are both there and both are, really contenders this year? It's got to
they
feel
don't
pretty
like it in
sweet.
the recruiting world, I'll tell you. But if you
For
look at
sure.
the statistics, 200 yards for BYU to 374 for Texas Tech.
Hmm.
Uh, Rushing 63 for BYU, 159 Texas Tech,
Hmm.
and turnovers 4-0. There
Yep.
were just so many different stat categories that showed this. I enjoyed watching Texas Tech's defense on the field.
Hmm.
They were really exciting to watch.
Wasn't this the most surprising result of all these games, or did you think it was Alabama versus Georgia?
Um,
I just thought this
this
was
one
going to be a really close
this
game,
was
three
more
points.
surprising than Alabama Georgia in my opinion because I
Yeah.
kind of felt like Georgia was going to get that one.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, no, I'd
I
say
agree.
because I thought BYU was going to put up a really good fight, and then Texas Tech would probably win it at the end.
Yeah. So the next game I have absolutely been dreading to talk about for the last 24 hours.
Hmm.
Um, I did not feel good about this game going in, and I told you that.
Yeah,
I felt like Virginia seems to find ways to lose in these spots when everything's on the line and they have to get it. I will say Virginia had an incredible season. They come into this
very
game
nice season.
10-2. I never saw that coming. And this team did not give up. They went down pretty substantially throughout the game. They made a bunch of mistakes that were just inexplicable to me, but found a way to tie this game. They were down 10 points with 4 minutes left and tied it, which is
Yeah,
really unlikely. And then in the overtime, they just kind of folded, just threw an inexplicable duck of a pass and couldn't score and end up losing to Duke, who becomes the ACC champion at 8-5. So, what was your take on this game? And then I'll give you what mine is in terms of details.
well, I don't believe Duke should have played the game. I think it should have been Miami against Virginia, and the
Hmm.
winner clearly would go into the tournament.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
because Miami and Virginia had all the criteria met to go to the playoff.
Right.
ACC really fumbled the ball in putting up one team that can't go to the playoff according to
Hmm.
the criteria. So um, they shot themselves in the foot. They cost themselves potentially a lot of money. They got lucky that the committee did their work for them and put in Miami.
Right. They did
Um,
get lucky. You're right.
they got lucky. Uh,
By the way, I think Miami would have won this game against Virginia, so I think they would have
oh,
gone
I do
anyway.
too. But the point is, the ACC should have put up 2 teams that could go to the playoff. No matter who wins, somebody's going in.
Hmm.
They're so dumb to have put up a team that can't go.
That's right.
Like that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard,
They
honestly.
have 5 losses, Robbie.
They have 5 losses
Yeah.
and they have no victories over a top 10 team.
And one of the losses was to Virginia at Duke. So,
Virginia
uh,
and Miami fit all the qualifications to get into the playoff. All they needed to do was see which one was going.
So here's
They
my take
needed
on the actual.
they
Here's my
needed to
take on the
play those
actual.
two so that the winner could go to the thing and not have all this hand wringing and consternation.
100% agree, but let's talk about the game itself. And that
Okay.
is, here's my take. Duke was better prepared. They came in
Mm,
like gangbusters in this game. They had a
not really.
much better game plan, in my opinion. Their defense was flying all over the field. They could actually run the ball, and Virginia could not. You asked Chandler Morris to throw 40 times in this game. That's not Virginia football
Yes,
this year.
that's a problem. But not because we couldn't run, because we didn't run. Jamari Taylor ran the ball 11 times. That's about a third of what you needed. Uh, Chandler Morris throwing 40 times is a disaster. You said it earlier when we were talking about it. You said it was we were out coached. I agree
We
with that.
weren't.
The
We were
game plan
100%.
on our side was trash. It's not that Duke's was great. Two of their touchdowns were bad tackling. We
Yeah.
had their guy dead to rights. Um,
Hmm.
One was a tight end who got the ball 4 yards down the field and got sandwiched between two guys, and they both smashed into each other and fell down,
How can you get yourself into a
and he
championship
scampered into
game?
the end zone.
I
And then it
saw that.
happened basically again where we missed like four tackles of the guy on his way to the end zone.
Yeah,
Made no
that's right.
sense. We haven't missed
Mm.
those tackles all year long. At the end of the day, there wasn't some grand strategy from Duke. They just were the beneficiary of really bad tackling at times that was not characteristic of this Virginia team. And when we played them the first time around, we tackled them nicely. Every time we'd hit them, they go down.
And
Um,
some really bad throws. We had a fourth down that we didn't get. We had the really bad pick that Morris threw. It's just on and on. So many mistakes.
yeah, yeah,
And
but by the
but
time you get to that deep, like it was, you know, when you get that deep into the game, they could have, Virginia could have taken control by just having the normal tackling and running the ball at Jamari Taylor and occasionally throwing to the receivers. But trying to win it throwing on every play is just dumb. And the tackling was pitiful. I'm really actually kind of relieved that Virginia's not going to the playoff. I think we were so bad last year and the year before. We needed to get to this level, get used to being here and create a culture where we're getting good players and then trying to take a leap into the playoffs.
mhm.
I mean, when's the last time we went to a bowl game?
Yeah, that's right.
Our goal for the season was not playoff. It wasn't ACC championship. I mean, we could say that all we want, but
How do you explain that you get into a championship game, you have to win it. So you have everything in your own hands. You're in Charlotte, North Carolina, you're in the wind, it's very cold, and you don't run the ball? Like what is that?
I don't know.
I don't
I
understand
can't
it.
explain that. It's inexcusable. It's malpractice. I don't know.
And you just have to tip your hat. I mean, Duke did come out fired up.
Yeah,
They came out
yeah.
gangbusters.
They made some plays and ran through our tackling a couple of times with some freebie touchdowns.
And Mensa's
There's
pretty
no
good.
way the amount of contact that we had at the point of attack and to have our guys slip off them and have them continue on and go all the way in for touchdowns. That was a huge part of the game where we were gifting them touchdowns. And then of course that pick at the end was a problem.
We
Um,
knew Mensa was good too. I mean, he's a pretty decent quarterback. So it's
yeah,
not.
yeah, we outplayed him pretty badly in the first matchup, and then this one, he played well. He had a nice game. I
I
will
feel like
say
this.
that I don't think Virginia was prepared for the playoff. I mean, they have a strength of schedule of 79th.
Hmm.
That's not good enough.
That's right.
They- Virginia hasn't
Um,
faced enough good teams. They played Florida State when they were ranked number 6, but Florida State ended up, unranked.
So Chandler Morris chooses Virginia for his final year of eligibility after a great season at North
Yeah.
Texas. And he does so with his announcement preseason that his goal in coming to Virginia was to win the ACC championship. And he almost gets us there to the point where it's in overtime. How do you think he feels now, having a really subpar game for him?
That one hurt, but they still have a bowl game. So they're going to the Gator Bowl. So that'll be a
Hmm.
nice way to end his career potentially. But
I wonder,
of
by
course,
the way, Robbie, I wonder if they're staying at the Omni Resort in Amelia
I
Island.
thought about that today. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's cool.
Um,
I'm
but
going down
yeah,
there the 28th, so we'll see.
oh, you are? The
Hmm.
game's on the 27th.
7th, yeah. So I'm wondering if I'm going to see a bunch of Virginia
Yeah, maybe.
families the next day. Yeah. Anyway, too
Too bad.
bad. I
Too
mean,
bad you can't go for the game.
I know, but too bad for Virginia. They did everything they could this season to get themselves into this position, and they just flubbed it. I mean, I don't know how else you say
Well,
it.
it shouldn't have. It should not. The ACC's crazy if they ever let that happen again.
Yeah,
You can't have one team that can't go enter your championship game. You can't.
it's true. It's
You
true.
have to do what you need to do to put in the next best team who can go. And I guess if none of your teams can go, then you just play the best you got. But
Yep.
you can't do that.
Well, congratulations to all the winners. I really want to congratulate them. This is
Yeah,
going to be a great tournament, and I'm excited about it. So let's
it
talk
was
about
great football.
some of the college football hirings over the past week. Alex Golish goes and takes over at Auburn. He's a really well respected guy. He had a great season at South Florida. What's your thought about that hiring?
I think it's good. I think Auburn's got a lot of nice pieces already in place. And I think that some good steady hand coaching, they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think he was one of the top three candidates this particular cycle. And they had a particularly good year at South Florida with not great talent, mostly 2 and
Yeah.
3 stars. So I think he's going to do good things at Auburn. I'm pretty excited for them. We'll see how he does this year coming up. So another guy who had a great season was the guy named Ryan Silverfield for Memphis. They actually went 9-3 this year, had a really nice season, and were
Hmm.
for a while there talked about maybe a playoff team. And he goes and takes over at Arkansas. So pretty cool that both these guys from mid majors go to the SEC. So any take there?
I think it's a good job for him. I think he's going to be a good match there. And I think that program is actually underrated.
It is. It's not bad.
Pretty good recruiting.
If they can get themselves to kind of 500 from where they are now, they're always a tough team against every SEC team they play. So who knows what he can do? We'll see. A lot of it comes down to recruiting. The other guy who left a mid major is John Sumrall, who is the coach of the Tulane Wave, and
Hmm.
they got him to the playoff. And unlike Lane Kiffin, Florida is allowing him to coach his team in the playoff, which is pretty cool. So he's actually going to coach Tulane until they get knocked out, and then he's going to go join the
Yeah,
Florida
but in
Florida
Lane
Gators.
Kiffin's case, it's not his team that's not letting him coach his new team. It's his old team.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Um, and John Summerall has a very good reputation, and the AD there says that he's going to do all the right things and he
Mhm.
trusts him. So he's going to let him coach the team and his guys, and then let him go to the bigger school next year. And
So, what is your
um,
take on all these guys joining the SEC all of a sudden? A lot of new coaches in the SEC this year. And what's your take on the fact that a lot of these programs we're looking at had really good years and they seem like they're stepping stone programs to the big daddies? I mean,
well,
these big
there's
schools.
there's a ton of money in the SEC for NIL. So
Mhm.
that's really what it comes down to. I mean, Lane Kiffin even said, I don't even know what the numbers are on my deal, but I know what I got them to agree to on NIL.
Mhm.
So, and I kind of believe him. I'm not saying he doesn't have any idea, but I think he was more focused on NIL. What can you promise me that we will spend on players?
Hmm.
Um, that's sort of the most important thing now, more than what your salary is as a coach.
It's true.
Because what's the
100%.
point of having an incredible salary? Although I will say, if you're making, 15 a year, guaranteed 6 years, 8 years, whatever, and they have this massive buyout to get rid of you, that's the best thing that can happen is them to
Mhm.
fire you and
Well,
they still have to pay you all this money.
I will say for all these first three guys here, and for John Summerall especially, I mean, the things he's done with Tulane this year is pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
And if he can carry some of that over to what is usually a very good program, the Florida Gators, they might have a bright future. We'll see. Kind of excited
yeah.
to see what he does with it. Next guy to talk about is the guy who was the biggest name in the cycle, and that was Lane Kiffin. He could not hold out to coach his Ole Miss Rebels in the playoff because Ole Miss would not allow him to. And he goes over to LSU and takes this huge $90 million package. What's your take on that? And do you think he should have maybe tried to coach it out before he made a change?
Yes, for sure. I think for sure they shouldn't have made these moves before bowl game. I don't
Yeah,
care what changes you need to make as a NCAA. You should not let coaches switch in the middle of the pro. Could you imagine a player doing that?
no, it's just unbelievable. I cannot believe this can happen. And this tells me the system's broken right now in terms of the
System's
transfer
broken.
money. Yeah.
I don't know about broken, but it has major flaws that need to be
Mhm.
fixed. Yeah.
That's right. So one of the reasons why Ole Miss wouldn't let him coach all the way through the playoff is because they had Pete Golding in the wings and ready to go. Apparently, they were already thinking the last couple of months that if Lane did leave, Pete was going to get the job. He was the assistant head coach, and he was the defensive coordinator. And so Pete
And not only
Golding,
that, the longer he stayed in the building, the more he was recruiting.
that's right, that's right, and he knows the
Recruiting.
players, he knows the system,
Yeah.
and so Pete
And
Golding
he
gets.
and he can have that sneaky little conversation like, well, we're gonna be looking for a right guard. Um,
Right, right.
I'm not promising you anything, but I'll call you, you start planting seeds all over the building, it can really do damage.
Ole Miss wanted to create stability here, so they take the number two guy on the coaching staff and they elevate him. And I think it's a smart
Yeah.
decision. I
Yeah, they
really do.
wanted to go with familiarity.
How do you think he can do in this playoff chance that they have?
Well, probably pretty well. Obviously the offense is gonna be questionable,
Hmm. Well,
but
I'm excited to see how he does. He's got a great opportunity here to try to pull off something miraculous. The coaching staff essentially stayed the same except for the offensive coordinator and Lane Kiffin, but everybody else is there. And so we'll see what they can do, if they can pull something off. But these are the latest on the hirings in college football.
cool.
Let's look at the memes of the week. This is pretty funny, Robbie. Phone call coming in, potential fraud, Ohio State,
No way. They
which I
missed a
don't,
they missed a field goal
to tie it against the number one
tie it,
team now. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
But,
90%, 95% of the time you hit that field goal and you're still playing. So
any concern, though, that, Robbie, they can only score 10 points in
I was
this
a
game?
little concerned about their offensive line play. That was the
Mhm.
biggest that was the biggest question mark for me.
Didn't really run the ball very well. I mean, they were playing
Didn't
a
run the
really
ball
good style
well,
defense.
and yeah, that was a problem.
Potential fraud is a little too far for me, but I
Potential
don't
fraud
know.
is extremely overstating it.
That's right. So this one's interesting. The playoff will continue to make everyone mad until we acknowledge that the conferences are way too big and we need to
Yep.
go back to geographical conferences of 12 teams each. So they're saying that we're getting too concentrated on the conferences and then we need to go back to having
Yeah,
like
we need to go
like the
back to
big
where
6 or 7. Yeah.
you play everybody in your conference, and so the conferences need to be small enough to 6 teams, or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Everyone plays each other every year.
What do you think of that proposal where you end up having essentially 6 or 7 major conferences instead of 4?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I kind of like it too.
I think it makes more sense than
Goes
just
back to
trying to have
old
these
school.
super conferences. where they can have these massive TV deals.
Let's say you had 6 conferences instead of 4. You'd have 6 champions get auto bids to the playoff, right? And then you have 6 bids that are at large and that are your next 6 best teams.
Keep the
Right?
Pac-12.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
So I like this proposal. I really do. This was funny. Florida beats Florida State at the end of the year. No bowl game for you, FSU. There's a hidden rivalry there in the state recruiting, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they love that they kept Florida State out of a bowl game. So it's kind of scary to think Duke held all the tiebreakers in this scenario. So what is your take here? I mean, don't you think this has nothing to do with college football in general? It's just the ACC and the
I
way
mean, I told you
they
the
do
ACC
tiebreakers.
screwed up.
Yeah.
Their system has to be looked at. It's not just the playoff, the national playoff. A lot of the conferences need to be tweaked in picking their champion.
I mean, I think there was 2 or 3 teams that should have gone over Duke. I mean, SMU, Pittsburgh,
SMU for sure.
probably Florida, Georgia Tech,
Georgia Tech
Miami.
looked like they were number one most of the
Yeah,
season.
I know.
Miami, yeah, none of Duke shouldn't have gone ahead of any of them.
Actually, probably all the other 4 teams should have gone over Duke.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is just a crazy system.
That's my point. You start
have
there.
to look at.
Who should be playing in the game? Anybody who can go to the playoff.
Yeah. They have to look at it. You just do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So breaking Florida football was finalizing the 6-year deal to go get John Sumrall. What was interesting about this is, do you know what his salary was at Tulane?
No.
650,000. He got 12 times his salary
Wow.
going to the Florida Gators. So not
That's
only
a good move.
do you go somewhere to get NIL and get more power and get more recruiting, but man, you talk about a upswing in his salary. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. I mean, that's the going price. And of course, we talked about the Lane Kiffin deal that he went and took that job, and then he was unable to coach the rest of the season for Ole Miss. 10 wins for Virginia, the most since 1989.
Yeah,
So
they had a great season.
I think we're smarting right now. We're upset. We're disappointed. They had everything in their own hands to win it. But if you really think objectively about this season, it was pretty darn good and much better than we expected.
I'm not even that upset, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed, but I'm not. I realize that I didn't want them to go to the playoff this year. I thought they were gonna go embarrass themselves.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
They had a lot of injuries and I don't know. They need a couple more years to build.
You know what? He's building something good there. I think we should
I
feel
like
good.
it. Yeah. He's doing fine.
So this is interesting. Some teams argue you shouldn't be penalized for playing conference title games while other teams sit on the couch. Taking that into account, Miami had more rushing yards on their couch Saturday than Alabama did, which was -3.
Yeah. That's funny.
How funny is that? So what is your take on Alabama and really even Georgia? Like those 2 teams usually have the Derrick Henrys of the world. That's what we're used to. Nick Chubb. And they both are just a little down on running the ball. I don't get it.
Yeah.
They have big time backs.
They spread it around. They had a bunch of backs that ran the ball 13 times. And I think their running game is in a healthy place overall, Georgia. I like their offensive line play. I think they're in good shape there.
What
But
about
Alabama has a serious problem running the ball.
They do. It's really a problem.
I
What
spoke
games they
about it
won?
last episode.
You did. You really did. It's concerning. They're going to have to fix it. Okay, so here is our subscriber challenge of the week, guys. Here we go. The question is, which team will win in round 1 of the playoff? So, Robbie, we're going to go. We're going to ask everyone to drop us a comment. The first one is Oklahoma, Alabama. So
I think Alabama wins that one.
You got Alabama?
Yep.
Okay. I also have Alabama. I think OU beat them last time, and I think again it's very hard to beat a team two times in a row. And so I think Alabama gets this one done. But I think it's a close game because OU plays such good defense.
Yeah,
Really, really tight, really hard to come by points.
no question. OU
Um,
definitely has a good defense.
and would I be shocked if OU wins by 3 points? No. It's going to be a really, really
I'd be
tight game.
shocked if it was a high scoring game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Guys, drop us a comment. Who's going to win this first round game right here? Second one is Oregon JMU. Robbie?
Oregon,
I agree. I think this one isn't even particularly
not
close.
that
I
close.
think,
It might be close for half.
yeah,
JMU
I
might
think
even be leading a couple times by three, but I don't think there's a scenario where they beat Oregon.
you're going to see Dante Moore and those athletes and those running backs, those wide receivers
Yeah.
going off, and you're going to see JMU facing by far the best defense they've ever seen.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a tough time moving the ball. But I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see a really good game. We'll see. Drop us a comment, guys, what you think. But we both think Oregon.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Miami, Texas A&M. What a great matchup.
Yeah, that's probably the best matchup of
What
the
is your
first
take
round.
here? I'm going back and forth on this one. I'm having a hard time with it.
I think A&M's more loaded, but I think Miami's dangerous team.
Hmm.
A&M should win that game.
They should win that game because I think they're going to get enough pressure on Carson Beck that he won't be able to get it to those incredible receivers that he has. He's just not going to have any time. And I
Yeah.
think overall A&M is more stacked. They're deeper at every position. They can run the ball better.
Mhm.
So I look for a really good game, and I look for A&M to win by a touchdown. So like 34-27, something like that. So guys, drop us a comment on this game as well. Final game is Tulane Ole Miss. Ole Miss with the guy who just stepped in for Lane Kiffin, and Tulane with the coach who's headed to Florida after this game. What's your take on this one?
I think Ole Miss should take this one. They're going to play really hard for their D coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're going to have an advantage skill wise. They've run the gauntlet in the SEC, so they should take care of it.
I mean, this game to me, and really the Oregon JMU game also is going to be in the trenches, and JMU and Tulane can't hang in the trenches with an SEC team. That's just my opinion.
That's right.
So you're going to see Lacey going off. You're going to see Chambliss running and passing. You're going to see all those big time receivers, and you're going to see the Ole Miss defensive line stiffen up against Tulane. They've never seen anything like this before. So this one might also be a blowout, I think, at least in the second half. Guys, drop us a comment who you think is going to win all of these games. All right, Robbie, man, we have the playoffs set. We're actually going to have our playoff preview show next Monday, where we're going to break down every single one of the 12 teams, all the stats, every position, and really get into the games. So, any other final thoughts before we head into our preview show?
Not really. I think there's been a lot of criticism of the committee and the system, and everybody has opinions. It makes for great sports radio, talk radio, podcasts. It's giving us tons of content because it's so easy to have an opinion on. But I think generally speaking that the committee got most of it right,
Most
and
of
I
it, but
and I
here's my
think
problem.
the system isn't too bad, and um, I think it's all a matter of perspective. When it was two teams, we felt like if we just had four teams, it would be so much better. And then we got four teams, and then you know
My
eight
problem
teams,
is that we are looking at
or
an
12.
NFL playoff system that you can understand because all the rules are laid out and there's no subjectivity at all. There's no committee. There's no let's put this team in over this team. And that's why you have controversy in college. We've got to get rid of it. You've
But
got to have
also,
a system that everyone understands
but also
exactly how you
in
get there.
in the NFL, you have four team divisions, and so in the NFC East, you got four teams. You can play the other three teams twice, and you can determine who's the better team. And I think that there's no way to do that in college, but if you had small enough divisions, you could have a better sense of how good somebody actually is because you'd have a lot more teams that actually play each other head to head, and that's a data point that's extremely important. So,
which is why we need more conferences, not fewer. We really do,
right, more
because
conferences that are smaller, more compact, and it would just make more sense.
it would. So I love it. It's way better than it used to be when it was just four. I love the 12 format, but it's not quite there yet. It's like it's midstream to being great. And we've got to find out a system that is more objective rather than subjective.
Coaches shouldn't be allowed to just up and give themselves a raise and quit on their kids. Like that's an extremely bad example to set.
Like, how's JMU getting in over Notre Dame? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make
So,
sense.
well, guys, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We love bringing this content to you guys. Thank you so much for everything you do for us, and we love bringing it to you. And very soon time here, we're going to be bringing you the CFB playoff preview show. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and I am really excited about the matchups. Generally speaking, this is some of the best teams possible. There's a lot still to talk about, a lot to agree with and disagree with, and feel like it could be better, but that's okay. It's okay. It's far better than when it was two team and then four team.
I
Um,
will say the controversy gives us a lot to talk about too. So it's not always bad when there's a little bit of controversy.
I think a lot of the blame falls on the conferences themselves. I think they need to make sure that they are picking the best candidates that can go represent them uh, for their championship games. And
Like you
I,
said, the ACC really screwed up this year. They really did.
yeah,
And Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame's going to have to join a conference. I don't think they can hold out
I do
forever.
too. Yeah, I do too.
If it's Big Ten, fine. If it's ACC, fine. But they got to choose.
I think they should do ACC because they're a lot more aligned with ACC in terms of like schools' values.
Me too.
Um, I think that they feel like they could dominate it and get that automatic bid every year.
Hmm.
So I think that they should they should embrace the ACC.
I agree. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time on the Sports Guys.
Yeah, we'll
Have a good
see you
one.
soon. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.